Okay, so I'm gonna be quick here. It is 12:45 after midnight almost on January 4th, 2020. And yeah, a few things had happened in school. So yeah, on January 1st I lost my wallet. On January 2nd, I fucked up my physics exam. Didn't fuck up my Chinese exam, I think, because it was unexpectedly easy. Or maybe not. Maybe it's, well, not easy, but I think it's easy. So it's an illusion. Actually, it's difficult and I've still messed up. Um and also on January 2nd, I asked Hans if I could join the graduation trip because after graduation everybody's going on trips, vacations, going to other countries to have fun, to end off the school life with a high note, and everybody's doing that. I really want to do that as well. And Hans and the gang in general, that gang of boys. I mean, there are many gangs of boys, but that gang, Hans's gang, alongside with Tom, a friend of mine, Nick, a friend of mine, Leo, and Pink, both of them are friends of mine, plus Marty, AJ, Harry, Hector, and I don't know, Derek. I think he's going. Is he? I don't know. They're not as close to me, but they don't hate me, I think. And yeah, Hans denied, saying that it was too late, which pissed me off a lot because I told him that I would be joining like many months ago. Not many months ago, but like a month ago. And he ignored me. And then I told him again a couple of days ago, and he's like, man, it's too late. Everything's already planned, and like you're not in, okay? I can't help you. And I told Tom about that, and Tom's like, yeah, I can't help you. So I guess I'm all alone, stuck in Hong Kong, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because I'm going to the USA very soon, and I I really want to just you know be in Hong Kong, for one last time. And yeah. However, I mean, I've talked to Grant and Natalie, who had been very close to me lately for some reason, or maybe me just being close to them because I don't have that many friends, and they said they may also um, sort of organize a graduation trip, and I can join in that case, and Oliver too, because apparently Oliver is in our gang as well. And Oliver already had three graduation trips in plan. One of them with Ernest's gang, one of them with Edward, and one of the graduation trip with Selena. And I mean, that's what happens when you have a lot of friends. You just get invited to places and you can have fun without paying. And I'm pissed. But you know what? I'm already used to this. Um, Other than that, okay, so Tom has a crush on someone. I can't tell you who. And recently, news had broke that someone is pretty much almost dating another person who is in our class as well. And that's very unfortunate for Tom. I feel bad for him, and Tom felt sad. And also, Anne has a crush on someone, but I guess, it, yeah, all the love and stuff. And yeah, anyways, today technically is a Saturday, but I still have to go to school because I have the maths exam. So it's going to be great. It's going to, oh fuck. I forgot to postpone my dentist appointment. That is fantastic. that is fantastic. I will remind myself to do it. But for now, I'm gonna do a little revision on the maths, and yeah. So right now it's about to be 12:20 after midnight, and I don't even know what I'm making this little video for. I guess I would like to just address a couple things about what's going on in my school lately, and then I will finish up with my 1,000 word-ish personal statement for the college application, and then I will slumber like a good human being. I kind of want to sleep earlier today. I slept for around 5 hours today this morning, which is not bad. I mean, more than, you know, my usual school days this year so far. But I feel like I need to sleep more than 5 hours each day because I still feel sleepy today in school, especially during Chinese class, which is weird because usually I don't feel sleepy during Chinese classes. Well, to be fair, in my defense, today's Chinese class is basically us doing a past paper, and it's completely silent, and it was sleepy. Anyways, that's not the main point of the video, and it's already been 2 minutes. Oh my gosh. So, did I tell you it's January 9th right now, technically? Well, I consider it 8th. But, I feel like I have already reached the top of the ladder, or more like I have already reached a point where I am at my peak when it comes to my social game. And I'm really happy about it. Like I know I'm not super popular, but I feel like I'm just as popular as I am in 8th grade. I was socially, I hit a peak socially during the first couple of months of 8th grade, and I think I'm there right now, and I can do better than that. But right now I'm there. I think I am, right? Um, so I'm very close friends with Natalie and Grant right now. They're dating, and I hate to be the third guy, to be honest, but they're actually good people. Like Natalie's not mean anymore. Pink and Leo, they're good as well, and I speak to Tom a lot, and yeah, and then of course Nick. These are the primarily the 5 people that I talk to. But lately I've been talking to Maria a lot, and then Oliver and Russell as usual, even though they don't consider me as a close friend. But I still like talk to them sometimes. And then Jordana actually talks to me quite a bit. I thought she'd be like suspicious of me because she knows that I know who she is, right? Like, Jordana is a really clever, manipulative, pathological liar, sociopath. Um, yeah, I know who she is, and when I talk to her, joke around with her, like, I, 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 I have a little, like a little I've I'm a little alert, but just a little because I know it doesn't fucking matter. Like I just want to like talk to people. It doesn't matter if the guy's a sociopath or the girl in this case. I mean, uh, um, but yeah. I mean, um, speaking of issues, Adam's been talking to me quite a bit lately, and we have been discussing on matters such as World War III, which is supposed to be a meme, but it's becoming more and more real now. And then the plane incident, the plane accident with the flight between Tehran and Kiev, Ukraine. That was unfortunate. You know what's even more unfortunate? The fires in Australia. I really after the Amazon last year and then now Australia, like come on, man. The world's just getting burnt. And then of course we have the whole disease, the SARS disease outbreak, pandemic in the entirety of fucking Southeast Asia, or more like China and Hong Kong, because one of the patients in Wuhan who had the disease decided to come to Hong Kong and stayed at a hospital. And it's been like, I think 5 days, and now 38 people in Hong Kong are infected with the pandemic, with the SARS, and it's going to be like spreading faster and faster. It's going to be like a plague. And it's going to be like, yeah, I just really need to, I guess, boost my immune system. Yeah, anyways, what else? I think I've been pretty social with Potato Gang. A little more social, in fact, like with Ronald, even though I think Ronald's a little bit suspicious of me as well, because according to Natalie, one day Ronald and Suki, who is Ronald's close friend, decided to question Natalie on information about Grant, which is weird. And at first I thought, okay, maybe they're just playing around, fooling around. But Grant was like, no, Ronald's like a little complicated, like he thinks very, the way he thinks is a little complicated than you think. And I'm like, yeah, that actually makes sense. He's from 1C and 2C from my class during 7th and 8th grade. So of course, everyone's a little crazy there. And then on the next morning, when I was walking up to my classroom, I was with Natalie and Grant, but we weren't planned to go to school together. We just bumped into one another, and Ronald was there, and Ronald was like, and he spoke to me, which is weird because he usually wouldn't be so observant about me, but he went, wait, so you're with Natalie and Grant again? You're with them two again? Like, okay, that's weird. And then one time in biology class, I was talking to Anne and Maria. They sat together in front of me, and I knew something. I knew who Anne had a crush on, and of course Maria knows, but Anne doesn't know that I know. And if Anne knows that I know and that Natalie told me, Anne and Natalie's friendship will be ruined, and it will be my fault. So I cannot let Anne know, and I let Maria know, and I realized that it was a mistake because Maria may accidentally let Anne know that I know, so I need to stop Maria from letting Anne know that I know. Yeah, just simple social trickery, bamboozle conundrum. But there's this whole other thing with oh wow, what? Jordana's backstabbing people now? That's new. What? Basically Jordana talked shit about Anne in front of Anne's mom, and also talked shit about a bunch of people. Olivia was really pissed off by this, and Olivia usually is emotionless, pretty much a psychopath with 200 IQ, but she had to make an Instagram story attacking Jordana. This is serious, and Jordana probably doesn't even know it. That's the funny part. But yeah, So I was talking to Anne, and everybody knows that Anne is always around, revolving around these secrets and stuff. And Anne was like, and I almost let Anne know that I know who was her crush. And Anne tapped my shoulders and was like, tell me, what are you talking about? What do you know? And Kingsley, like from 50 miles away, just stared at me, and I saw him staring at me, I guess, but actually he was staring at Anne, and Anne was trying to get info from me, and I was looking at Kingsley, and it was just like Kingsley's observant as well, kinda. I kinda need to be careful. I don't know how much I can trust Kingsley. But anyways, I also know who is Tom's crush, and Tom's crush is almost having a relationship with Ron right now at this point, so it's gonna be interesting. Actually, it's very saddening. But also, speaking of Mary, haven't seen her all that much lately. I don't know why. But yeah, I did see her today before the English listening exam thing that took place for 2.5 hours. And when I walked into the school hall, Mary was behind me, so I opened the door a little wider so that she could, go in easily. I think she noticed that, right? She better have noticed it. Like, oh, he opened the door a little wider just to let me go in, like he knows I'm there, and he kind of cares. But of course no one really cares about me. By no one I mean everyone in the world except for, by no one I mean 4 people, 5, 6 people. But yeah, I know I already got what I wanted, which is to be able to talk to Mary and take a photo together, which is insane. But I haven't cracked the biggest mystery, and that is all the stuffs with Mary and her true personality. That's the mystery. Okay, so right now it is January 10th. Yeah. Fuck. It's already been 10 days into the year, and I'm not making too much progress, I have to admit. Not because I'm slow. I've already tried my best to do things really fast, but because I simply don't have I simply have too much on my hands. Anyways, I'm just gonna talk about school a little more before I do my first album review of the year. This is better. So, it's been a pretty interesting 2020 so far. Not only is 2020 building up to be one of the worst years of all times, but also for me personally, 2020 could potentially be the worst year of my life. Right now, the record holder is 2016. 2016 is truly a terrible year, but if 2020 somehow tops it, I really don't know what to do with my life anymore. But yeah, 2016 is really, really bad, and I don't know if any year can top it. Anyways, I'm just gonna start off with the year 2020. Actually, before 2020 happened, we have December 31st, and on that day, me, Grant, Oliver, Natalie, and a bunch of other people went to school nearby our school to take the chemistry exam, the pre-mock chemistry exam. So we have the ultimate exam called DSE. That is, this huge thing that happens annually. And before that, we have the mock exam, which is also pretty huge. but it's mock, so it's not like for reals, you know. And then before the mock, we have the pre-mock. So we did the chemistry pre-mock in that place, and it was kind of tough. We did it for 5 hours. The exam was 5 hours long, and me, Grant, Natalie, and Oliver, we had lunch together in a mall nearby, and we were actually a couple minutes late into the examining hall, and I was pretty much panicking at that point because we were all running towards that place, and we were all very hectic. And I tried to grab my stationaries, my pen, and my eraser and ruler and all that stuff, and my calculator, and it was all a mess. Everything dropped onto the ground. It was crazy. Luckily, Mary wasn't there. Otherwise, she would have, I guess, see me as this very not punctual, dumb person. Iris was there, though. And then afterwards, the sky was looking very gray and cloudy. It looks like it was about to rain. Originally, I tried to get Cedric. I was like, yo, it's the last day of the year that I'm going to be spending in Hong Kong. Can we hang out? And he's like, nope. And apparently everybody's got plans with their family, including Jordana, who accidentally did the material chemistry part during the electives test, the electives paper, whereas we all chose industrial chemistry and analytical chemistry because these two electives are the ones that we have chosen to study. Not material chemistry, jeez. Yeah. Yeah, and then so me and Natalie, we took a bus back home, and that's basically December 31st. And then on January 1st, the first day of the decade, I, Cedric, and Tyrus, we went to the biggest park in Hong Kong to march on the streets, except we didn't. We went to the park, which is the starting point of the march, and we were stuck in the park for 2.5 hours. But overall, we either walked, ran, or stood for 5.5 hours, I think. And I ran from my apartment to the subway station to take the subway, and ran all the way to meet Tyrus and Cedric, and then we ran to Victoria Park, and then we just stood there and waited for 2.5 hours long until we decided to just go back home. But on the way, the cops suddenly decided that we have 30 minutes to disperse the entire crowd, and keep in mind that there were at least a million people who were marching. Actually, way more, because a lot of people wasn't counted because they didn't go into Victoria Park, which is the counting location. So way more than a million people, okay, marched on the streets, and the police gave us 30 fucking minutes, okay, 30 minutes to disperse, to entirely disappear, and then it's illegal to protest now. So me and Tyrus and Cedric, we just dashed off, and the cops came, and it was crazy. The radicals started to show up, and I tried to film, but of course, filming at night when the radicals started to come into the battlefield, it's kind of, not a very wise idea to film. So a couple people actually told me to stop filming, and for good reasons, and I respect them. So I try my best to film as less as possible. And then later on, me, Tyrus, Cedric, we walked all the way up to the mountain and all the way down because we needed to leave in a safe place. And then on my way, I lost my wallet, including my Hong Kong ID card, my Octopus card, my library card, my school ID, 200 Hong Kong dollars, 50-something dollars in my Octopus card. And then, even worse, it's the happy birthday sign that I've been keeping since 9th grade, and like 10 movie tickets that I've been keeping since 2016. So that's pretty sad. But I got over it quick because I've been through worse in terms of losing things. In 2016, I pretty much lost 80% of everything. So, yeah, or 90%. Well, my phone died, and I'll lose a bunch of, people. And, yeah. Anyways, January 2nd, the first day of school. Anyways, January 2nd, the first day of school. And I saw Tyrus on that morning. Tyrus was like, "Hey, did you find your wallet?" And I was like, "Of course." Nope. Tyrus was like, "Rip," and then he went off. And then we have the physics exam, pre-mock exam, and it didn't go quite well, but I just received it yesterday, and I got 46 out of 84 for long question part, which is actually not bad at all. Yeah. Uh, yeah, I mean, and compared to other people, of course. And then we have the Chinese pre-mock, which is actually not bad as well. I don't want to yawn, but I didn't yawn. Ha! Anyways, okay, so this big thing happened on that day. Not big, actually, not big at all. I basically I wanted to join Hanz. So currently there are 9 people in the gang who's going to Tokyo. So there's this tradition where after the ultimate friggin' exam, people just go to other countries and travel and have fun and sort of end off their school lives on a high note. And everybody's doing that. And I was like, fuck, man, I gotta do that as well. So we have this huge gang with Hans, Tom, AJ, Hector. Hector's not going actually because he's afraid of airplanes. He's going to another one. And then we have Adam, of course, Leo, and Pink, and then Harry's in, and Nick somehow is in, and that's 8 people. The 9th one is going to be Marty. And like a few months ago, I was like, yo, I know y'all going to Tokyo, Japan. I want to go too. Can I join? And I asked really nicely, and they pretty much ignored me. And then soon I asked Tom again, and Tom's like, I'm actually not the leader of the gang. I gotta ask Hanz. So I went up to Hanz and asked him, and Hanz was like, nope, too late. And they haven't booked the flight tickets, the hotel rooms. Actually, they're staying in Airbnbs. They haven't planned anything. And Hanz was like, nope, too late. So I pretty much begged him. Like, I was like, please, come on, man. Come on, it's still early, right? And he's like, nope, nope, nope. And you know what? Fuck it. I don't want to nag him no more. I don't want to annoy him. So you know what? No grad trip for me. No graduation trip for me. Fine. I'm going to be all alone, stuck in Hong Kong, while everybody enjoys their lives and end off their school lives on a high note while I stay. And come to think of it, it's actually a pretty wise decision, because I'm going to the USA in July, and I just kind of have to enjoy the rest of my days in Hong Kong. And also, I have this huge short film project, and I have to stay in Hong Kong to film those short films. So there's that, and yay! So it's going to be sad. When they go to Tokyo, I'm probably gonna uninstall Instagram or something, or disable Instagram, because seeing people happy in Instagram really pisses me off. Uh, especially when I could have been happy like them. So yeah. Anyways, on that lunch, I decided not to eat with the gang, Hans's gang, because I'm just a little upset. So I had lunch with Natalie and Grant, and they were actually really nice. And then another boy gang, the more powerful and the more popular one, with Oliver, Ernest, they're there too. They're in the restaurant too, and Ernest sat beside me, and he's chill, he's cool. And Grant and Natalie are dating, and Grant basically he calls himself the psychologist now, and he isn't really doing a psychologist work. He basically deduced that the gang, Ernest's gang, had changed the volleyball setter just by deducing different things. And Ernest was like, oh my gosh, how did you deduce that? Then we have January 3rd, the second day of school in the year, and I had to do my personal statement thing, and I had to, I guess, continue on with life and stuff. I was hoping that, Mary would show up this week, but now it's Friday, the week is over, and Mary hadn't showed up yet. In the classroom anyway. But I'm going to talk about that a little later. For now, I'm going to talk about the ordeal. That's the wrong word. The deal. The situation between Tom and his crush. So Tom told me about his crush, and he didn't tell many people. He only told 4 people. That includes me, Hanz, Derek, and Grant. And of course, now that Grant knows and I know, Natalie knows, so that's 5 people who knows right now. So Tom has a crush on this girl, and reasonably so. I mean, when he told me that he has a crush on her, I was like, yeah, I mean, she's pretty crushable, even though I wouldn't really date her because she's not really my type. But anyways, it's understandable. And since Tom is in the more unpopular gang, and Ron was in the more popular gang, and Ron also apparently has a crush on her, Ron got her. So Tom was heartbroken, and Tom gave up. That's what happened. And he gave up easily. He's like, yeah, you know what? I'm over it. I'm over it. And I'm glad he's over it. And actually, it's not that bad. I mean, if Tom could be friends with this girl, it's already pretty good. Like, I'm not even asking for a romantic relationship or a friendship with Mary. Like, I know it's already too late to, I guess, befriend someone. But I can still talk to her. I can still, I guess, build the relationship as far as possible before school ends, which is like late February, which is actually like 1.5 months from now. So yeah. Anyways, yeah. Just a little side note here. Linda used to be friends with this thought who has a lot of followers on Instagram, who's super popular, millennial, you know the drill. She's a thought, and she's not cute. She isn't attractive, but she always takes photos of herself, and while she doesn't take nudes and post them on Instagram, but like she posts photos that are nearly nude, and it's just not very appreciable. So but I'm cool with her. And then she did this Ask Me Anything thing on January 1st, and somebody asked her, how old were you when you lost your virginity? And she was like 16, and everyone went, oh my god, you had sex when you're 16? So everybody asked her, like, do you like to masturbate? Would you like to try anal? What kind of positions have you had? And how many guys have you been with? And she was like, oh my god, I can't answer this no more. Thank fuck that Linda is out of the thought gang, okay? Linda is not a thought. Linda is 20 times hotter than this girl. And Linda isn't a thought. And she's a down-to-earth person that doesn't show off that they had sex. I know that Linda had sex, okay? It's not a secret anymore. Even if you don't know it, you can really just tell. But it's fine because she's not showing off on Instagram. She's not like, hey, I'm taking news. Look at how sexy I am. She's actually incredibly loyal to her boyfriend. She's a really good person. And she will turn 18 like a couple weeks from now, so that's cool. Speaking of which, she's turning 18 a couple weeks from now. So there's that. And then on that day after school, me, Grant, and Natalie, we went to a Pacific Coffee near my apartment, and we had a chat. We talked about people, we talked about stuffs, and we talked about Anne. Anne, who was originally Grant's crush, but Grant changed his mind, and now he likes Natalie. And Anne also changed her mind, and now Anne has a crush on another boy. And that is another boy in the popular gang, and he's Andy. Yeah, people are not supposed to know this, but she likes Andy, which is weird because Anne used to be friends with Topher, and Topher warned Anne and told Anne to stay away from Andy because Andy is kind of infamous for his blowjob blackmail thing. Yeah. Anyways, that's basically January 3rd. And then we have January 4th, which is a Saturday, but I had to go to school and alongside with like the entire form because we had to do the mathematics pre-mock where we basically sit down and we do maths exams for like 6 hours. And I fucked up big time for paper 1. We had 2 hours and 15 minutes and I was like half asleep while doing the paper and I just fucked up big time. And then we have paper 2, the multiple choice questions. We had to finish like 40 something multiple choice questions and I tried my best, but it's still pretty difficult and the results are terrible. I got 65 out of 105 for paper 1 and 27 out of 45 in paper 2, and that's fucking terrible. A lot of people who are supposed to be on the same level with me got 80 something out of 105 at least in paper 1, and then Oliver got 41 out of 45 for some reason in paper 2. So I really gotta try my best to work back up. And then that's basically what happened on that day. Also on that day, I think it was on that day. Okay, no, wait, it's not. I'm losing track of time. But on that day, I learned actually on the previous day. I think I actually forgot. But Jordana and Anne's mom actually had afternoon tea during the Christmas holiday, the Christmas break, and Jordana literally lied and said shit to Anne's mom and pissed off Anne and Olivia, making Olivia the psychopath. Put up an Instagram story, sort of saying that Jordana sucks, which is crazy because Olivia, she's not really a human being, and the fact that Olivia has feelings on this matter is actually kind of crazy because it never really happens. And yeah, a lot, a fight between a psychopath and a sociopath. It sounds like it would be something interesting, but actually, it's the most boring thing ever. It's really boring and brief. Yeah, Jordana told Anne's mom that Grant dumped Anne, which is false. Also, apparently, Ronald and Suki decided to suddenly question Natalie about why does she love Grant, which is weird because on the next school day, on January 6th in the morning, when I was going up to my classroom, not actually going up, I was about to head to the stairs, and then Grant and Natalie showed up behind me, and I was like, hey, so we joined, and we went up together. Ronald saw us, and Ronald spoke to me, and Ronald's like, hey, you're with Natalie and Grant again? Okay. And that's really weird because usually Ronald doesn't care about my existence, so when he does, it's kind of weird. And also Grant said Ronald's thoughts are a little more complicated, so I gotta be more cautious, I guess. And then also on January 5th, Sunday, I went to a restaurant with Grant and Natalie, and we also sat down and talked about stuff and hang out, and we ate small pizza and drank drinks, and yeah, not alcoholic drinks. Sadly, everybody's drinking alcohol now, and I'm not really an expert on it. I'm not really all that experienced on it, so I probably should up my alcohol game as well. And then during lunch, Pink told me that Betsy, other than me, Betsy also doesn't have a graduation trip because nobody is inviting her. And B, she wants to go to Mongolia for some reason. And nobody kind of wants to do that because everybody are normies. And that's fantastic. Finally, someone who's also suffering the same from the same thing that I am. And then I ask Maria, or I guess, yeah, I can't find another pseudonym for her, but Maria also doesn't have a graduation trip, and that's all. And same goes for Derek as well. But Maria was actually invited to be in South Korea, in Seoul, with Natalie and Anne and Olivia, except Maria couldn't because she was forced to join this internship program thing. Anyways, during lunch, there's this whole debate with, hey, is it Russell who has a crush on Jordana, or does Jordana have a crush on Russell? And me, Leo, Tom, and Anne also believe that Russell loves Tom. And then Kingsley, Olivia, Natalie, Maria, I think Hector, and also Pink believes that it is Jordana who has a crush on Russell, which is weird because Jordana is a psychopath, and knowing Jordana's bar for boyfriends are set so high, ridiculously high, and I don't think Russell really fits in there. And the reason why Jordana is really close to Russell is, I guess, because Jordana wants to use Russell for her own advantage. I don't know, but Russell seems to be a very gullible, soft person, and he's a really nice person as well. He's fantastic. And then after school, Leo and Pink waited for me to leave, so we left together, and I forgot to take my phone on that day because in the morning my mom took me to school because my mom had to hand in the secondary school / high school application form to a high school nearby, so she decided to take me to school, and I accidentally left my phone in her car, so I didn't have my phone throughout the whole day. And I thought, hey, I could just, hang out with Natalie and Grant and chat on the way home and not use my phone at all because I don't even have it. And then so I left with Leo and Pink. Pink's gone. And I was like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to head back. And then when I head back, Dean showed up and told me that Natalie and Grant are already gone. So there's that. And then afterwards, we have January 7th. Nothing all that important happened. I had this thought that I'm going to say at the end of this video. But yeah, apparently Derek doesn't have the graduation trip as well. Anyways, on January 8th, nothing all that important happened on that day as well. Almost fell asleep in the Chinese paper 1 practice, which is incredibly tough. And then afterwards, we have the English listening pre-mock from 4 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. And while going into the school hall, Mary was behind me, and I tried to open the door a little wider so that she doesn't have to open the door herself. But at the end, I think she did. But I just hope that she would notice that I noticed her, and I opened the door a little wider for her. But yeah, afterwards, I took a bus with Natalie and Brandt back home, and we went to a street, and Natalie bought herself some chocolate-flavored egg waffles, which is one of the finest and most iconic street foods of Hong Kong. Hell yeah. And Grant bought himself some Indonesian satay, I think chicken, on a stick grill, right? And I ate some of both, and I like it. Technically shared saliva with people, but I'm 17 years old, and they're Grant and Natalie, so I'm cool with that. And usually I hate doing this, like when somebody, put things in their mouth, and then share it, and I'd be like, little, germs and stuff, but I'm grown up now, and with the vitamin B pills, I'm pretty sure I can reinforce my immune system so that I wouldn't fucking die. Anyways, a couple things that I want to address before ending off this video. First of all, Mary didn't show up throughout the whole week. Of course, we have the January 7th, where I tried to open the door a little wider for Mary, but she never really, showed up right up in front of my face. And I kind of saw Mary a couple times in the morning whilst on the way to school, like walking from the bus stop to school. But other than that, not much in terms of Mary, which is kind of sad. I think maybe she's studying. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be a chemistry pre-mock or a biology pre-mock or a biology SBA sometime soon, and then maybe I can talk to her. And I'm going impromptu from this point onwards. Last time I talked to Mary, also the first time in years, and it's fucking insane because a couple years ago I was like, there's a 99.9% chance that I'm never going to talk to Mary again, but I was wrong. I actually broke my promise and actually talked to her. I had the balls to do that. And I rehearsed that conversation so much so that I didn't panic because I immediately know what I had to say. I didn't panic at all. And nothing seems off with me because I've been so well rehearsed with what I'm going to say. But from here on out, I am not going to rehearse my conversations with Mary anymore. It's all going to be natural. Of course, I still have a couple of things that I'm going to talk to her, like the whole short film stuff, the fact that I'm still writing diaries. Yeah. And maybe we can talk a little bit about, biology stuff, normal stuff, and school stuff, maybe. Maybe we can take a couple more photos before school ends, which would be nice. Yeah. Other than that, extremely good news, and that is I think I'm hitting another peak when it comes to my social life. And if you've been paying attention to my school update videos, you know that my social peak is the first couple of months of 8th grade. September and October 2015. During these 2 months, I was friends with Jordana, Linda, Cedric, Bernice simultaneously. I was cool with Jeffrey, cool with Keith, I was cool with Max and Pete, and I was doing the same project in the same group with Mary and Queenie, who were in good terms with me. And I had all those people, and I was cool with Wendy as well. And then after that, it's all downhill until I guess mid 11th grade, when I was like, oh my gosh, my social game is terrible and I need to step up again. And so I stepped up, hanging out with Leo and Pink, hanging out with Tom, talking to him, sort of being more open, being more friendly with Oliver and Russ, and actually being full-time friends with Natalie and now Grant, and being more open and friendly with Potato Gang and Bean Gang, both of the gangs, and sort of talking a little bit with Selena and Suki, and yeah, pretty cool. And yeah, even though right now I actually thought about this. If I could go back in time and go back to the start of 10th grade, what would I do? I would join Tom's gang, aka Bean Gang. I would sign up for being staffs in the sports day ASAP. I would join the MUN, the Model United Nations, and get a couple of awards. I would, of course, continue with my drama club, and I would join English Society alongside Tom so that I could keep up with Mary, and a couple things more, I guess, and join the campus TV, of course. But I didn't, and now I'm back to zero. I have never really went to positive. My social life has always been negative, and now I think I finally returned to zero, and from now on I can finally keep going up to positive, even though school pretty much kind of ends in like a month or so. So yeah, it's a little too late, and I've pretty much wasted my entire school life, and I'm kind of sad about it, but I'm kind of over it. And there's that. But yeah, it's still really good news. Actually, when it comes to social life, something interesting happened today during lunch, um, where Karoline and her friend Lulu, I literally came up with this name just now. They wanted me and Nick to take elevators with them because they don't want to be the only two-person in the elevator, because taking elevators in school is illegal. You can't take the elevators. Only the teachers can do that. Well, for good reasons, because it wastes electricity. And yeah, it's pretty fun. We didn't go with them at the end because we didn't want to get caught, because on the previous day, Kingsley, Dean, Grant, Ernest, bunch of other people got caught eating food during the class and taking elevators and playing ball games. And our principal, aka formerly our biology teacher, came up to our classroom and told those boys to write an apology letter. So we're like, you know what, fuck it, I'm not gonna. Other than that, what happened today, actually generally things are starting to resolve, and people start to realize that Betsy's, just like me before, now is friendless, because Jordana doesn't really like her, Pink doesn't really like her, Scooby doesn't really like her, and apparently Jordana and Scooby are planning a graduation trip together, alongside with maybe Hanz and Russ. And it's pretty interesting, but a lot of people hate Jordana as well, very obviously. Jordana made an Instagram story talking about how, countries nowadays, they don't care about the environment, huh? And I thought, well, actually, Jordana made this Instagram story from a good place, even though she's a little hypocritical. And Natalie was super pissed off by it, so Natalie made an Instagram story responding to her, but not really saying her name, and everybody was like, yep, she's definitely talking about Jordana. And Natalie's like, no, I'm talking about everyone else. And I mean, actually, yes, Natalie's talking about like people in general, but we all know deep in our hearts, this Instagram story, the existence of this Instagram story is actually driven by what Jordana said. But that's basically it. So yeah, time for an album review.